For over 50 years, people have come to see the Sharks play. Talent, skill, speed, intelligence, elite-level athleticism. That's not these guys. Biased, one-eyed, opinionated. More often wrong than right. They make up for their complete lack of talent with pure dribble, gibberish, and enthusiasm. This is the ET Stand Podcast.
Vegas is over, and for many, we head back to normality. Not Baldo, however. He's on to the second leg of his trip with no end in sight. For us mere mortals, however, we are here back to the weekly grind. Sharks fans, the Sharks themselves, this is week 2 of the NRL 2025 season. Welcome to the ET Stand, the Sharks fans podcast where we let our talking do the football. We're in all the usual places: YouTube, Spotify, Facebook, Instagram, Apple Podcasts, and wherever else you guys want us to be. I keep saying it, if we aren't there, let us know and we'll try and get there. While listening, don't forget to like and subscribe. It helps with everything we do. We've also hijacked a Discord channel where Sharks fans can chat 24/7, Sharks and any other malarkey you feel like you need to talk about. The link will be in the chat and we'll pop it in the description below. Hopefully, this time we will. Also, I believe we've unlocked this thing called Super Chat. It helps support the channel, and if you use it, I'm told we'll have to treat your comment as fact. So use it if you feel inclined, but remember, with great power comes great responsibility. Joining me on the panel tonight is Lats, the man who's more and more becoming my partner in crime. How are you, mate?
Good, mate. How you going?
Very well, thank you. Williams, who is definitely burning the candle at both ends, mate. Think you'll stay with us throughout, buddy?
I think so. Thanks for the random background I've got. Obviously not in my home location, but trying to make it seem like home with a obviously less than optimal headset and a like and less than optimal internet. So if I drop out at any stage, or just kick me out.
I was going to say my finger will be poised on the boot button. And CK,
Is it end
fresh from
stream?
his...
Do I press end stream?
Yeah, don't do that. Don't do that. And CK, fresh from his Vegas trip, and hopefully all in one piece, mate. How's the come down?
Terrible. Just take me back. I'll be back there in 6 weeks with Baldo catching up again. But yeah, I wish I was still there.
Mate,
I do. It's fun. It's a good hurt.
I don't know how much you paid attention to us. We were certainly jealous of you. But yeah, you back to normality. You just got to stick with us for a little bit, and then so yeah, I guess Vegas again, huh? What's that? WWE.
Big WrestleMania, WWE WrestleMania. So taking Zach over and the wife and meeting up with Baldo, and yeah, about 4 or 5 days of wrestling events. It's gonna be great.
All right, sounds good. Do we
back to $18 coffees at Starbucks? It's gonna be awesome.
Do we talk about Cena, or is that taboo, or what's going on there?
No, we can talk about Cena. Yeah, we could do a whole segment on Cena easily.
Maybe we'll save that one for when Boldo's available and it's closer to the event. Also joining us is you, the listeners. Thank you so much for joining us. We've got a great show coming up. We'll have Lats go through the socials, discuss the media's mad love-hate relationship with Nicho. We preview the Cowboys game. CK gives us his around the league. And finally, we talk about what it might be like to have a Sharks doco. The Lats socials is brought to us by Morgan's Cronulla. Looking to take control of your investments with expert advice, Morgan's Cronulla is here to help. As part of Australia's largest full-service stockbroking and wealth management network, Morgan's Cronulla delivers personalised strategies to help you grow and protect your wealth, whether you're investing in shares, managing your portfolio, or planning for the future. Their experienced advisors provide tailored solutions to meet your financial goals. Visit morgans.com.au/Cronulla or call on 02 9523 6400 to start building your financial future with confidence. Morgan's Cronulla, your partners in wealth, your guides in the market. Okay, Lats, here we go, buddy.
Alrighty, boys.
You're going to have to
Bye,
hit
boys.
your socials.
I'll kick off with some unfortunate news that came out of Newtown's 26-12 win over Penrith on Saturday, which saw young gun and heir to the fullback throne Liam Eisen go down with a serious knee injury, with a complete ACL rupture today confirmed by the club. It takes the pressure off Will Kennedy, I guess, and hopefully he can get into his groove and see the year out at fullback and forge an extension with the club going forward. But we'd like to wish Liam all the best with his upcoming surgery and recovery, and hope to see him back in action and ready for the 2026 season and beyond.
Yeah, it's a bit of a hard one,
Alrighty.
that.
Oh,
It's
mate.
devastating.
It's the cursed second string position, isn't it?
Yeah. Dykes last
Between
year,
him and Cade.
Dykes the year before when we just let Lockie Miller go. Oh,
Yep.
Yeah, every time.
Heartbreaking, and very
The
unfortunate.
ghost of
for the
Will
young
Kennedy.
bloke. Anyway, that was a good win by Newtown, nonetheless. I believe he went down in the first 10 minutes of the game, so it was a strong win to roll the Panthers there in the end.
Who was replacing fullback? Do we know that? I know the guys at Fins Up would.
I believe it was Hirotti, the main man.
Yeah, right.
What a guy.
Eero.
Boldo.
Alrighty. In much more positive news, gents, for the club.
Hirotti and Eero.
In much more positive news for the club and its supporters, Big Tommy Hazelden has confirmed rumours of a 3-year contract extension yesterday through the Sharks socials. I'd heard a lot of whispers prior to the season opener in Vegas, which we dropped on our first episode this year, and yesterday it was confirmed. Tommy wanted to remain loyal to the club that gave him his big break, and we thank Tommy for his loyalty and to the club and its supporters. So giddy up. What a great signing. Stay away, Knights. All right, our junior side, a challenging weekend for our junior rep side saw our under-21 Jersey flag team fall to the Panthers 30-0 at Parker Street Reserve in Wollongong, CK's backyard. Our Harold Matts squad went down 24-12 to the Roosters, with our SG ball team also getting rolled by the Chooks 25-14. Cronulla's Tasha Gale squad were beaten in a close affair by Illawarra 12-8, with our Lisa Fiaola squad, our only victors, downing the Steelers 16-6. Through the week, David Riccio put out an awesome little article on Coach Fitzy and the things he does behind the scenes for the playing group and the coaching staff. For example, he gave up his business class seat that was provided by the NRL for the team's Vegas trip to our sports scientist Jess Adams out of appreciation for the hard work she's been putting in of late. The article also shares how Fitzy really leads by example and grounds the people around him and teaches a playing group selfless values which will not only benefit themselves but the entire team. Great little article by Dave Riccio, and I suggest those people who are yet to come across it jump onto the Daily Telegraph and check it out. It's a really nice little read.
That looks like you've just jumped out of the bushes there and snapped him with your iPhone or something there. Perhaps laps.
Well, I'm an Android user, but hence the reason the photo quality is so good there, Franco. But yeah, mate. Yeah, that's just looks like might have been on the way to the team bus from the airport or something. Looks like he's been in for a bit of a long haul flight. That one, that might have been 14 hours in economy class after giving his seat up. Might be regretting it there.
Mm-hmm.
Alrighty.
Why?
And finally, gents, as Harley has pointed out in our comments, that Sharks have a new superstar supporter in none other than pop star Katy Perry. Sharks dropped a clip in their socials during the week of Nicho and Kale crashing a radio interview of Perry whilst over in the States. Apart from calling our game rugby, much to Franco's dismay, Perry seemed to have a pretty fair knowledge of the sport, referencing what I believe to be Michael De Beer's sideline head stapling from Origin. Could have also referred to, I'm not sure if this was prior to our match, it could have been, I think it was Papali, was it, that had his lip stapled up on the sideline? I'm not too sure, but Perry seemed very excited to meet the boys nonetheless, who presented her with a jersey. And with Perry touring Australia later this year, hopefully the club can get it down to a training session and invite the ET Stand podcast boys down to check it out too.
Better than Taylor Swift any day of the week.
100%.
Can I say that? Do I lose us fans for saying that, or Winners fans?
No.
I'm not sure.
Props to our social media team and the club also sending the best looking Roosters in Nicho and Eero to meet Katy Perry. So she was quite blown away with those two guys. And made
Should have sent Cam McInnes.
One of them could have jumped into the left shark costume, the famous Super Bowl costume. So, yeah, good stuff.
Nice touch by the club, huh?
Yeah, love it. Well done.
That's
All
it, boys,
right.
for the socials.
Thanks
Just
for
on
that.
that,
Good stuff, lads.
Obviously going to Vegas, we didn't get the 2 points, but PR wise and things like that stuff, does do wonders. I know there's a long interview on Sharkcast with one of the guys behind how that all happened. But yeah, good thinking outside the box stuff by the club.
Yeah, brilliant. Now, let's talk about the media's love affair of Nicho. We've had a few people call out to us in terms of how they feel Nicho is treated in the media. We've seen a lot of it in the socials. So we are going to touch on it. CK, we'll start with you, buddy. What is your take on it?
Leave Nicho alone. It's like the Britney tagline. Leave Britney alone. I think after what you saw, and it's coming up obviously around the league in regards to high-paid 6s and 7s going around the league, I think and I think we touched on it last week, we're pretty lucky to have some high-quality 6 and 7 go around in our team to link up at different times. You know, we're not relying on one or the other. They're a bit of a in and out kind of players, and they switch roles quite a bit. The scuttlebutt around moving him a fullback is just absolutely ridiculous because they think he's not good defensively and sort of chimes in every now and then. So I don't see him playing fullback, even though he started there at the Storm and he was quite successful. But that was a red-hot Storm team then went winning the comp with Nicho being the 18th or 17th man, I think. Didn't see the field in that game. But he had a red-hot season playing fullback, centre, half, the whole lot. But that team was just ridiculously stacked. And was just hot. So it's a little bit hard to say you can put him in a fullback. But look, I'm happy. We've said this for many years since the criticism's gone around. He can be 6, 7, 14. It doesn't matter. As long as he's out there playing, he makes a difference to our team. So I think it's going to go to bed, given that some high-profile player has moved on to another club and signed a rich contract. I think the heat's on that guy from now on. So, and then again, you know, Boldo's made a bold prediction that the Tigers are going to make the top 8 with Luai in there. I don't see Luai as a 7 either. He's a really good 6. He's not a good 7. But he's gone to the Tigers to play 7 alongside Lockie Galvin. They obviously had a loss on the weekend of missing Appy Coruscant, their regular fullback. But it just shows when you're not that sort of general sort of player. Same with Parramatta. They're going to be behind the 8 ball all season. But, you know, missing Moses and just having Dylan Brown, it's a huge difference. But it was where he got the luxury of both. Who cares? They're out there. Let them enjoy it.
Yeah, Lats, should injuries be taken into account? We saw him go down last season, struggled a little bit with his injury, had a red-hot season up until that point. Do we think he's injured now? We saw him come off with ice wrapped around his groin in the trials. Do you get a bit of a pass mark? Should media criticism have a little bit of an asterisk next to it, or is it just unfortunately part of the game?
It made a bit of both on that one. I think, look, injuries are always going to pop up, especially when you're dealing with a high-profile player. The scrutiny is going to be on him from the media. To the extent that it is, I think it's ridiculous. I don't know if Nicho's injured now. It was interesting that there was no goal kicking being done by him and not too much play kicking done by him during that first round. But look, just the scrutiny on him after that first game was ridiculous. Like, I thought he had a fairly decent game. I like any other day of the week, that's not a bad performance. Yeah, it looked like Tricky was in more control, but I don't know. They just seem to have a massive agenda for him in the media, and I'm all for player accountability and that sort of thing on high-profile players. But I think they've just gone a bit too far with this, and it's not changed the record. It's just getting tired.
Yeah. Williams, is there room in the modern game for 2 dominant playmakers? Because a lot of the criticism seems to come from how well Trindle's doing. Like,
Yeah,
it's almost is it a lose-lose or is it win-win? I can't work it out.
it's a lazy media agenda, but like the way that halves have changed now to be one's left side, one's right side, rather than the traditional first and second receiver open side of the ruck. That's changed since the 90s, maybe the last 10 years. It's crazy. And I think there's a lot of journalists, you look at the ones that are lazy and keep like pushing this barrow, or guys that maybe haven't caught up. It's both lazy journalism and not up to speed with the game. And look, plenty of teams have different methods of playing. A lot of teams only have one dominant half. We happen to have options both sides of the ruck, and that seemed to be a bad thing because one's on $1 million and one's on 600K. When you look at it, and like Nicho, he had a great breakout season in 2022, but when we signed him, we were talking about him being halfback. A lot of us were like, isn't he more a 5'8"? And you probably and Moylan was completely out of the mix. Moylan was as good as gone at the end of 21. And we're like, wouldn't you have Trindle at halfback and Nicho at 6? Because Nicho's come from fullback. As Kelly was saying, that 2020, 2021 season, both seasons, Nicho was on fire as cover for Paps. And then I felt for him because he was great form and then missed out on the grand final in the squad. But yeah, having that, we've got back to where we started back at the start of 2022 as a function of many things. And then obviously injuries haven't helped too. But the whole thing, it'll continue. There will continue to be scrutiny. I don't know how much the media will jump on. Yes, that they will smash Brown like they've smashed Ponga, like they've smashed even Cleary. Cleary has taken 4 premierships to get that off his back, and he still, inverted commas, hasn't dominated Origin. And that gets rolled around. Like you look at 2019, and Cleary was the butt of every joke. I mentioned it many times last year that Wade Graham had more try assists in about a 15-minute period of one match in Perth than Nathan Cleary had in like 5 or 6 Origin games. So it's just tired old journalism. I thought Nicho did plenty of right the other night. The injury is a concern. So obviously he wasn't kicking, quad injury. He had the calf injury last year before the major injury. The last time he was kind of injury free for a long period of time was the start of the season, up to and including the Roosters game, which you watch that again. It was fantastic. The year before the loss to the Roosters in the first week of the semi-finals, he was fantastic. So he's got it in him. Just needs to hopefully be injury free. But I liked the fact, I said it last week, I liked the fact that he was more of a goldfish. He dropped the ball from the kickoff, just head up, keep going. He didn't seem to be down on himself like others. And that's where the media, I've talked a lot here, but the media tends to feed off his body language and stuff when it's like, come on, guys, you're not in his head. You're just being lazy and you're just hammering the guy when it's not necessary.
2.0 comes in here with a couple of comments saying, end of the day, you're worth what someone is willing to pay. Only injury-free season, won a Daily M. He's a cog in the wheel. Screw what the media say. He then also says, Dylan Brown is about to earn 13 million. And what the hell has he done to earn it? Nicho is Daily M Player of the Year. Blatant bias by the media. Well, we'll certainly be talking about Dylan Brown a bit later, I suspect, 2.0. Rob Valensky comes in. He says, I wouldn't mind making a living from just bagging one player each week. Oh, yes, I would have more integrity than that. Well, some might not. And then Sonia kicks in and says, focus is focus. If Nicho is the fall guy, thank you, Nicho, for taking on your shoulders and just soldiering on. Just don't take it on your calves or groin. Greatness always comes with high scrutiny. I think you were sort of touching on this, Williams. There's no real way to turn that around, right? Even theoretically, a premiership could still have him being talked down about in terms of Origin arenas and whatnot, right?
Correct. And look, if he does awesome, we're all winners there. I did hear something, I think it was completely unrelated to rugby league the other day. Apologies if it was related and I'm stealing it here, but they don't make statues of critics, right? It's not the critic who counts. So yeah, we'll look forward to seeing what Nicho can do over his next few years. He may end up being one of those guys that's more in your second tier halves that doesn't deliver something, but I think we're all in that position of we're hoping he does something. We've seen he's got that capacity and capability to do it. Hopefully get some injury-free periods to allow him to do it because I think he showed, well, the coming weeks will show it, but I think he showed enough of the weekend that he's in for a bigger season than previous.
Lats, are we in a position where we can say collectively the Sharks fans are on board with Nicho, or is there subsets that are being swayed by this media representation?
No, mate, I think the fans are 100% on board with Nicho. The media are playing on his fragility from Origin there, those 2 seasons there where he was played out of position and, missed out. But no, mate, I think the fans are on board. That's what it looks like across the socials. Everyone seems to be defending him on all the neutral NRL pages and, plenty of Shark support out there in the media there in the socials.
Yeah, fair enough. CK, you're on board with Nicho. You've watched a lot of rugby league. Is there anything that he can do as a Sharks player to, I guess, enamor himself with the club, with getting involved with things that any more than what he's doing? Like I don't think there's anything more he can do in terms of the media, right? He's just got to keep going and keep his head held high.
Yeah, look, it's the scrutiny that comes with being the marquee, the player, the face of our club. One of the good-looking guys of the league. He's a high-profile player. We all know what he does on and off the field all the time. But I was just casting my mind to someone like Kalen Ponga, who's going to be trumped by his now teammate in one of the highest paid players. And they switch in between fullback and six and fullback and six. And it just hasn't kicked on and worked. Like, they were only talking tonight on a show tonight about Daly Cherry Evans signed a 10-year deal and, over $1 million a season. And ever since he was that 19-year-old kid, hasn't kicked on and actually won a comp for Manly, being the marquee player and being the face. He dominated Origin at 7 or, a replacement in that Queensland sort of Origin arena and still hasn't done it for his club. So I think it just comes with, it's no different to, we harp on all the time about NFL comparisons with quarterbacks. They're on big coin and they haven't gone on to bigger things. Look at Lamar Jackson for the Ravens and Josh Allen for the Bills. They're on big money, win individual awards and haven't gone on to win those Super Bowls. So it's the same as our comp. There's only one guy that's going to win the competition. And, I think Nicho's doing a good job. Like Lat said, all the fans are behind him. Everyone's behind him. We know what he's capable of, what he's fit for. And you think of all the highlights he's put out throughout his career at Cronulla, it's amazing for us. So just keep going what he's doing. And again, we've talked about it before. I think he's going to get through another Origin campaign without being selected. And that just helps us, really.
For sure. Look, ultimately, I guess the media is a machine that needs to be fed. Nicho is a well-paid player who is more than just the face of the club. He's marketable, he's articulate. And it must be said, while he has worked very hard to get where he is, the media did play its part in elevating his status through the Matty Johns face-to-face special. The old saying of invite the media to wedding and they'll be there for your divorce rings true here. And even us discussing it, we're helping to keep his name front of mind. I do think that this has been a bit of a perfect storm for him with the gap between our game and the rest of the round one matches. It didn't give the media much else to talk about. And so they were able to just sort of keep iterating upon their agenda of Nicho and is he a dominant player? Is he doing what he's doing and living up to his pay packet? However, moving forward, I do feel that things like the Roosters season and now Dylan Brown will certainly take the heat off him. This pressure is pressure that success and salary expectations can bring. And while I raise my eyebrows at the length of his contract, I think the Sharks have done the right thing in locking him down. And while he may have his knockers, he's certainly doing the job we need him to do. Happy to watch this one develop, but it seems that he's help and circle. He has help in his circle of friends. So ignore the media and let's go Sharkies. And speaking of let's go Sharkies, let's go to round two. Round two, boys.
Just going back,
time coming.
Sorry, Frankie, just going back to Williams's statement about they don't make statues out of critics. You can't see a Paul Crawley statue being erected in the foyer of the new Leagues Club?
Or maybe
Or
a Paul
above.
Kent statue with the
Or
tree.
Love you, Buzz.
On your buzz.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe not critics, but what about podcasters? Are we going to get a CK statue somewhere? A Sam Shinazi statue? Surely.
Get a statue of him on the party bus with Bunty Afoa.
Aldo already is a statue, just ask him.
The Golden Mike.
Love you, Baldo.
All right.
John
Well, this match preview is brought to you by Miranda Hotel. Sharks fans, get ready for a massive Saturday night at Miranda Hotel. As proud sponsors of the ET stand, we're bringing you the inside scoop on the Sharks versus the Cowboys showdown, and the best place to catch all the action, Miranda Hotel. With huge screens, ice-cold beers, and electric game day atmosphere, there's no better spot to watch the Sharks take on the Cowboys. They'll show all three matches live and loud on Saturday night. Grab your mates, settle in, and cheer the boys on as they battle it out against the Cowboys. Now, this next bit is a mouthful, both to say and eat. The food special on Saturday is a grazing board, available all day long. Dive into a delightful selection featuring, here we go, arancini, mussels, squid, skewers, chips, and mouth-watering chicken wings. This perfect mix of coastal flavors, hearty favorites, is ideal for sharing, making it a fantastic choice for your table at just $80. Whoa, dig in, guys. Miranda Hotel. Book your table at mirandahotel.com.au. Okay. Round two sees the Sharkies take on the Cowboys up in Townsville at 5:30 Saturday. Now, we're going to need to drop in.
It felt like we had a
list.
buy. It felt like we had a buy, didn't it? Honestly.
Oh.
Yeah,
I-
it's been an
that's
eternity.
the biggest downfall of the Vegas trip was just
Yeah. No game.
No
And
second
we've all
week
stayed in the
football.
same time zone, let alone Kelly just
Yeah.
globe-trotting.
It is.
Hanging with the team.
Oi.
Hey,
Hey.
this is
See
gonna
ya.
be a difficult one for you, Kelly. But let's try this
Why's
again.
that?
Hey,
Because he's still
Yeah.
hungover from Vegas.
yeah, maybe
Why do we go back to
because
work today?
because he can't see the name.
Oh, no.
He can't see the name.
Oh, no.
Oh.
Gosh,
I bring
jeez.
up my phone, but I'm podcasting on it. So
It's
Here you
just
go.
same 1 to 17 from round one.
Yeah, obviously.
Here you
I
go,
know it's 1 to
CK.
17.
You can talk about this SJD comment while I try and
That is
fix it
very
up
Nicho
for
to
you.
Cleary, but Nicho is now better than Cleary when he only played 100 games. Yeah, it's true, SJD. Like we said, there's a lot of harsh critics and comparisons out there. I think high-paid halfbacks are now compared to the greats, but as we see the salary cap start to rise and a shortage of halves go up, I think we're going to see a lot more overpaid halves. You look at someone like Lass's favourite Ben Hunt that was down at St George Illawarra, $1.3 million over 4 years, and did absolutely squat and wore the brunt of every single league critic and St George Illawarra fan. So I had one text on Saturday when he missed the first tackle, or Friday when he missed the first tackle. Thursday, we'll go back, see, time changes. Missed the first tackle against the Roosters. It led to the first Roosters try, and they were like, oh, here we go. This is the normal Ben Hunt. And then absolutely laid it on for the next 60 minutes with a try himself and a try assist and a couple of line breaks there. So it just comes with the territory of being high paid. That's what it is, being the face of the league and being the face of the club. So, yeah.
It'd be interesting to see how far it goes along. I think I mentioned it last year, and I heard Matt Johns say we all about Matt Johns talking about the issue with the change from mod league rules, or I suppose back in the day when like 10, 15 years ago, when in junior league they just played regular rules and they changed to mod league where there was only, was it, pardon my ignorance, but one ball player essentially, and then they changed, and they've changed it now to be a bit more dynamic, and you got a guy or girl allocated hooker or dummy half and allocated first receiver, and the ability to ball play a bit more, which they've tailed. That was a Bob Fultonism, basically saying, hey, you've just killed the halfback. All the guys get in their development between, let's say, ages 6 and 12, or some kind of formative year around there, aren't getting it. So that we have a bit of a gap in playmakers, and that will come around again in that you'll see some good playmakers coming through. And we've got, is it Pollard coming through and others. So there will be a gap there. But hopefully we do see a plethora of halves coming through, because there was an article I was reading the other day. Like you look at the 90s and everyone could name all the halfbacks getting around. Yeah, we obviously had Healy and Green, and there was Jason Taylor's here, and they weren't just your Joey Johns and the like. There was a lot like quality halves everywhere. Where now it is a bit in the slim picking variety, I suppose.
Yeah, the issue is, and they were talking about it again tonight on the program, and I've seen it through junior league as well, when they get that sort of rep level, that the halves, the game just coach out of them. The skill players go to fullback because that's the flashy role, and your Ponga, your Walsh, your Teddy, all those kind of guys, your Pappenhausens, where it's really sort of, well, let's be a fullback. Whereas it's sort of coached out of them like, let's set up this play and let us set up this play. We kind of spilled the beans on it, and whether they mind or not, that we spoke to our coaching staff over in Vegas in regards to our attack and things like that. And they said, yeah, it's true. Everyone's a critic of how attack is played these days. But you know what? All those critics then go back and do coaching clinics. And this is a lot of shots at ex-halves players are in the media. And they go back and teach those block plays and block plays and block plays. Different ways to set it up, but setting up for the attacking block play. So it's a bit of a detriment to the league, where you're not going to get like a Reece Walsh kid coming through playing a 6 and a 7 and just does that sort of, quick thinking, let's go. So hopefully we'll see a lot more of those sort of guys coming in at 6s and 7s, where they just take the ball themselves and go, let's do this. We had back in the day of a Preston. It was just on instinct, literally on instinct, was just, let's go through the middle and see what we can do. So hopefully a bit of a change coming.
And it's still
All
a
right.
percentage game. Sorry, but one last point on that. But like
go for
now with the 6 again rule and that, like as I can't remember who I was listening to, someone basically, if you give away 7 tackles set against Penrith or give away the ball bad field position, it's going to take you 10 minutes to get out of that hole. Where previously the percent, like the completion rates are a bit lower, but you look at the game from the late 90s and it's completely different now. You had like kind of the Johns brothers playing Adelaide football for the Knights. You had the Broncos. Well, I mean that a salary cap cheating team. Let's call it what it was. Not mincing my words there, but like the Queensland team throwing around, the Warriors throwing it around. And if you lost the ball, you defend. Now you lose the ball, defend. You're going to give away 2 or 3 6 agains and give up 6 points. So it's hard. Yeah, it's changed.
All right. Well, I'm going to
Franco.
try and read the teams because I'm sure CK can't do it from memory. But as we saw
Do the
last
Sharks
time. All right, off you go. Do the Sharks team, buddy.
Well, it's 1-17 from round 1, so no changes there for our team. So
It is a copy and paste, correct?
It's a copy and paste straight up onto the new team. So again,
So
we're back
it's,
to last year's podcast of copy and paste and does what works best. So
Yeah.
no changes for our 1-17 from the Vegas team.
Which is
Atkinson's
Kennedy
still
at
14.
fullback, Stone Street and Mulatalo on the wings, Ramian and Iro in the centres, Trindle and Hynes in the halves, Fanua Blake and Kafusi Brayley up front with Nickera, Wilton and McInnes in the back. On the bench, we've got Atkinson, Talakai, Hamlin-Uele and Hazelton, coached by Craig Fitzgibbon. Obviously, the talking point there is Atkinson on the bench. We mentioned round 1 that we didn't think it was the right call to have him on the bench when we've got a couple of big boppers ready to go. And then post-game, we sort of said, still wasn't sure, wasn't sold on Atkinson being there. What are our thoughts? There's obviously a thought and a plan having him there. Lats, what do you reckon, mate?
Yeah, mate. Look, I was not disappointed to see him in the team, but I was disappointed to see Tuku Hautapua not get a run. I thought he was very, very damning in the trials and was quite good. It looked like he'd worked on his ball playing and that sort of thing. He might see more minutes. I think it would be an easier game, much easier game than Penrith, given what we saw from the Cowboys last week. And so he might see a few more minutes there. But maybe it goes back to Nicho possibly is nursing that niggling groin injury. Hence the reason Fitzy's got him there. So just watch the space and see how much time he gets and see how Nicho gets through his minutes.
Yeah, obviously the situation might change in a couple of weeks when, say, Rudolph gets back from injury. And there's a few more options there for that bench spot. But yeah, that's a good call out there, Lats, with that potential injury. We could be just shadow boxing here with Nicho. He could be 100% fit, and we're just throwing stones, I guess. But it's certainly a good shout out that could be a valid reason why he's there. CK, Stone Street, second week in a row, he's going to have a few of them. How do you think he went against the Panthers, and is he only going to get better and better?
Yeah, look, it was out of quiet game for what our standards are in regards to playing against a Premier's team. We obviously expect Stone Street to score 2 tries per game, and being a long-rangey kind of fella, we kind of have high expectations on the kid. But yeah, I think a bounce-back game in this one. I think, like Lats touched on, if you go and watch Manly play the Cowboys last week at Brookvale, they absolutely obliterated them off the field, and it probably should have been a higher score than what it was. They were very fast, and all their outside backs got over it, except for the ones we were backing. So I think Stone Street, he's going to be in for a big game.
Brilliant. Fanua Blake Williams, he's back, scored a try in round 1. Is there anything more we want from him? Is he done? Is he already a cult favourite?
Yes, cult favourite. Baldo called out that he was on for a few too many minutes. Over in Vegas, this will be a lot more hot and humid compared to the air-conditioned stadium over there. Kelly was in the ground. I take it was all very comfortable there. Seemed perfect for football.
In the suite upstairs, mate. I couldn't tell you. It was beautiful either way. Like, I could have adjusted the temperature if I wanted to. So.
AFB won't be having 1,000 schooners like Chris Kelly did, but
Kelly had the beer blanket on, but I'm sure that the conditions would be a bit more difficult for AFB this time around. More of the same would be nice. Great platform. But I will, I suppose, echo the comments of a few other podcasts, including our friends at Fins Up, in hopefully the other props, I suppose, give him more support and help him out there, because he is playing a few less minutes for us. And I think he's probably playing too many minutes for the Warriors to help him, I suppose, lay that solid foundation. He played about 55 minutes. Everyone else played about 30. It'll be interesting. Tapua is 18th man. So we'll see what happens there. If I don't know, we have no inside knowledge. We're just speculating. But if Nicho happened to be out and Atkinson was halfback, then Tapua comes on the bench and you got a 4-man bench, so a 4 big bopper bench. So we will see what happens there. I've got a quick summary of our history against him, if you like. This
Just give
the
us a
60th
moment,
match.
Williams. Just give us a moment. The
Can I just
Cowboys
touch on
team.
Williams? Oh, sorry, Frank. I can just touch on Williams.
on.
Like the Broncos kind of switched up Payne Haas this season, where they pumped him out for 25 to 30 minutes instead of getting that 65. They said, you go out and smash it for 30, and we'll give you a long big break. So I think we might play with that sort of thing as well. So yeah, we'll see what happens.
Cause mayhem for 30.
All right. The Cowboys team is Scott Drinkwater, Burns, Purdue, Viella, Tuolagi, Dearden, Duffy, McLean, Robson, McIntyre, Bateman, O'Donnell, Cotter, Lawton, Edwards, Nemi, and Hess, coached by Todd Payton. Now, it's good to be able to say that they don't have more premiership winners for the Sharks than we do, with Townsend no longer there and Holmes no longer there. But I guess instead of that one team having more premiership players than the Sharks, we've now got 2 teams that have more premiership winning players than the Sharks. But anyway, that's the team. You want to go, Williams, with your...
Two comments. The Cowboys team, they got pumped on the weekend, but I think they're handy enough. They beat us up there last year, and they've got the ability to trouble us. Obviously, Drinkwater's good. Robson's very good from dummy half, and they're at home. They'll want to put in a good performance against us, and we have to travel twice, where all the other 3 Vegas teams get home games after being in Vegas. So conspiracy... I'll leave you to decide. Thanks, NRL. Thank you. Anyway, you're mates with Abdo and PVL now, Kelly. I'll stop bagging it. But anyway, so this is the 60th match between the two sides. The Cowboys came to the comp in 1995, and we've had 39 wins. They've had 20. There have been 0 draws in that time. We've played them in multiple finals matches, and we were last winners there last year, which was great. It goes basically win-loss through that period there. We've got 1,440 points for, and they've got 1,124 there. So obviously there's a long period there where we just smashed them for a long period of time, and then they caught up around 2004 and haven't looked back. At this stadium up in Townsville, got Queensland Country Bank Stadium, whatever they call it, we have won 4. They've won 1 the last start. So we've got a good record up there, but that, I don't want to say streak or anything. That's been broken because we lost there last year. So, but in Townsville at 1,300 Smiles or Dairy Farmers or whatever it was called, we've won 13. They've won 11. So that's about an even money run up in Townsville there.
CK, do we worry about the bounce back?
No, not at all. I think me and Lass discussed on the weekend after the games are completed. I think the gap's going to widen this season in regards to bottom 4 teams and top 4 teams. I think the Cowboys, unfortunately, are in that bottom 4 rung. They've got a young guy in the halves who just absolutely didn't do anything on the weekend. My counterpart, Todd Payton, thankfully dropped Jeremiah Nanai this week due to defensive issues and brought in another guy. So Nanai, normally a ball-running destroyer against us, we'd probably get 2 pies. There you go. Williams 2.0 is coming. Cowboys drop Nanai for the game, which is a massive thing for us. Cowboys will be a lot more competitive, but Sharks win 28-16. Yeah, I think we'll back ourselves going up there. I think they're going to be, their back line's a lot skinnier. Like you mentioned, there's no Val Holmes there. There's no Kyle Felt. It's very, very skinny, different Cowboys team. So John Bateman's back there as a new club again and looked pretty much out of sort. And like I touched on before, Manly just absolutely ran right over the top of him. I turned it off at halftime and come back and watch the last 10 minutes because it was just, it was one-way traffic. So we can go up and do a job. I know Williams talked about the travelling conspiracy, but, North Queensland had to come down to Brookvale. It's not an easy place to get to, and then had to fly back out and go up there again. So they're going to have the same sort of travel. And there's other teams that I'll talk about it around the league that sort of their travel plans are disruptive. due to the Cyclone Alfred up there. So we're just part of that as well.
Fair enough. So, Lats, CK dropped you in it, said you've discussed this one already. Who wins, why, and by how many?
Yeah, mate. I think Sharks get their 40th win against the outfit by, I reckon, as many points, mate. I'm going 13 plus, minimum 13 plus. I just can't see them coming back from that. They had nothing last week, as Chris pointed out, Duffy, and I can't see them doing it. They lost a lot in Val Holmes there. They've even in the chat, they've lost a lot of stability there, allowing Dearden to run his natural game. And I think we roll them, mate. I think we roll them hard. We talk about travel. We've come back from Vegas, but we've had a week longer to prepare for this match and get all the little niggles out from the first round. And I think having Nanai out's a massive plus for us. And I think we roll them comfortably.
Williams,
Lats and CK2 confident?
Always. I mean, sorry. All right. Being a supporter of this club, I'm always like, gosh, this has Sharks loss written all over it. We're gamble responsibly, $1.30 favourites. I am wary. I acknowledge all the issues there, but how many times have we, for example, had a terrible first round game and then backed up the following week? 2011 comes to mind. Got pumped by Canberra in Canberra. Paul Leighton sent off for a headbutt, all that stuff. Come back, beat the reigning premiers, the Dragons, at home in the wet. Same 2001, got pumped by the Dragons, then go and beat the Premiership favourites, Parramatta, away from home. I'm not going to say it's going to happen here, and especially I think the comp is widening a bit, and I'm hoping that we're on the top end of that. We should be, but yeah, I'm all cautious. I'm going to say by 10.
SJD comes in. He reckons 42-10.
He's the expert. He's the tipping winner. He knows.
On a side point,
Either way.
we're talking about the travel.
Drive
We're
it.
talking about Fitzy giving up his business class seat, and I'm all for that. That is great leadership there. But please tell me none of the players did that. I don't want to see Tapua or AFB trying to contort themselves into a seat 72B in the middle.
Williams,
don't.
if you saw before
AFB in the jump seat.
Nicho did a bit of a social around the plane, and most of 95% of those guys have never been on business class. So I don't think they were ever giving it up. There's no way. And if most of them were still wandering around the casino floor like me at 5 a.m., there's no way they'll give that chair up. It's a longer flight home too. You go against the wind, as you know. It's not good.
I don't know if any of you guys have flown business, and I've only done it once, and I wasn't sure where to put my hands, what to do. I was like, do I stay up and just drink all of the scotch that they have, or do I put the bed back and go to sleep? But I've got to take advantage of all the food and the movies and all that jazz. And then we're coming to land. Damn it. Yeah.
I definitely
All the
did
above.
not sleep when I was in business class. Thank you, work, for that one. But took all advantage that I could, because
There's so much room.
doubt I'm ever going to get to do it again.
You're right. So much room for activity.
Harley kicks in. He is tipping the Sharks. And 2.0 says retribution of the GOAT. 2 tries incoming. Struggled to stick that one out. I do think while we played pretty well against the Panthers, I do think there were a few players that had quiet games. I think that maybe, the game was a bit fast for them or taken away from them. They were, round one, just a bit slow out of the blocks. So I do expect to see a few players lift and have a better performance this round. So I think we're in front, and I'll give us a lead of 12. I'm not as confident as everyone else, but I do think we're in front and we're going to claim it.
I do wonder if there's a bounce back factor in regards to we're now going to play on a bigger field from what we played last week. It'd be quite a bit of an expansive going. Oh wow, we've got a lot more field this way and that way. It could be interesting.
It can only help for our kickoff, Brayley's kickoffs and Will Kennedy's
and
40-20 saves.
Thank you for room for activities.
I think it's going to be a fun game too. I think it's going to be exciting. And you're right, CK. I'd totally forgotten about the field size, so that's going to be good. see what we've trained all year for, because we certainly didn't train all year for round one. Vegas, smaller fields, that's for sure. All right, CK, it's been a bumper round one. You ready to take us around the league?
Yeah, let's go for it.
Let's go for it.
Have we got something to go with it, or
We do.
we get it again?
Last
do
week's
this.
slides.
Spolder's going to kill us after this. I'm telling you.
Oh,
We're getting a Howland review.
rotten tomatoes.
Well, you know what? They don't make statues of
out of
critics.
So good.
Oh, well played.
I do like before you're like, as long as I don't press this button, and you still press the button. It was great. All right, around the league. So obviously we're going to kick off with a little review of my favourite town in Las Vegas. I just wanted to put this out for Franco in regards to records broken into streamed views. Obviously, it was the highest viewed Super League game on Foxtel, but that's to be given because it was at a friendly time and most viewers could kind of watch it for a first time. It was the most watched regular season game between Panthers and Sharks on TV. So again, probably not a surprise given that, like, you know, we're not going to have many fans over there, but we had 50-odd thousand fans in there. So attendance went up. US viewership went up about 400%, I believe. So eyeballs on the screen. And we got in contact with our lucky fan who we upgraded during the suite, and he actually signed up as a Sharks international fan. So shout out to those guys.
Katy Perry?
Yeah, probably Katy Perry. But no, the fan that we had in our box, he signed up for his NRL package so he can watch the games live or on catch up when he can. So seems like it's a budding success so far, but obviously going to tweak it again. They discussed it further with PVL last night in regards to what's looked like the future, whether teams are going to go forward in regards to who's going to go. Obviously, they're going to have to repeat. Some teams don't want to go, like the Storm didn't want to go this season. And you probably want a team like Sharks, Penrith, Warriors, Broncos, Roosters. Those got to, you know, I'm going to put us in the big dogs. And it's obviously calling Dragons and Bulldogs for next season. So they probably want those bigger games, bigger attendance, bigger rivalries going over.
I think it's worth mentioning, and you put through us in the big dog world there, which was nice. Appreciate that. Certainly hasn't been the case for a long time, sort of going back in history, right? Where we haven't been considered a big dog. But I do like to think that as far as TV is concerned, we are a pretty well supported club. I've historically been surprised when you look at the list of, say, the top 10 highest rating NRL matches. There's a lot of Sharks matches in there. We get good viewers, whether that's Sharks fans themselves or we just happen to be in good matchups and it works favourably for us. I can't quite comment on that, but we certainly seem to be up there and rating fairly well, fairly consistently.
Oh, look, and speaking to our American friends, like obviously our jersey was quite attractive, being it's a flashy blue and white, you know, a bit of black colours in there. It's not that sort of Penrith went to black and gold, and you got your Wars, who is a different country, and Canberra, you just think of, well, as Williams knows, not much going down in Canberra. So, you know, those kind of things are attracted to fans. And then randomly, like you speak to Boldo about it as well, and we're going to do a video with fans we spoke to. There were fans from all over Australia and different expats have flown in to come and watch a rugby league game that don't normally get to rugby league home games. So there was people from Queensland and Cairns and things like that who were Sharks fans and went, well, let's go to Vegas instead of going to Cronulla. So quite successful in that sort of thing. So we'll see what happens from now on. I'll go back.
I wonder if the NRL will force those teams. I know it seems to be a volunteer basis at the moment, but if Craig Bellamy wants to keep saying, no, we're not going to travel, if they're going to say, no, it's like magic round, too bad, so sad you're going. I think that would be fairness for everyone.
I think from what he was saying, it's pretty much going to be, well, you know, you put forward your application and go from there. So I guarantee teams will probably repeat it because they all enjoyed it. They all had a ball over there. And again, you're flying business class instead of flying economy or premium economy to North Queensland. It's not that bad.
Just the team building, from a team building
Yeah.
perspective, it looked amazing. Some of the things they got up to prior, like in LA there, and that can only benefit your team, bring the group closer together. So I think that's an awesome sort of point of it as well.
Yeah, massive.
Obviously, on to the weekend, like we were just talking about the big widening gaps in some of the teams. So if the curse does continue, if your team concedes more than 50 points in the regular season, you don't go on to win on the premiership. So there goes Parramatta and the Roosters. They got absolutely hammered. The Storm, at halftime, I thought this could be 80. It could be racking up to anything. And obviously the Broncos conceded first, but just racked up the Roosters. The poor Roosters lost a few more players out of that game, and they now travel on to play Penrith this week. So it could get a little bit scary going on for some of these teams, as we touched on. So, and like I said, Cowboys were just shy away from conceding 50 themselves. So, Williams, do you think the gap's going to continue? Do you think it's going to widen, top four,
I think
bottom four?
I think so. I think it's it seems like there is a big difference, and this is one thing Joel Kane on SEN was talking about, and I do value his opinion a lot. He was saying the coaching as well. So you look at the systems you look at Penrith and Melbourne on paper, and they don't have crazy teams. Bellamy's been doing it for years, but Penrith's now doing it as well. They've got a good spine, sure, but the systems and structures and your coaching staff are paramount. Parramatta's obviously rebuilding. The Roosters have lost a lot of talent. So there will be, I think, with the 6 again rule and others. And we saw it during COVID as well. There were more blowouts then too. I think, was the Warriors lost an Anzac Day game to the Storm by like 70, and they conceded 40 points in the second half, or more. I think it was like 54 points in the second half. So I think you are going to see that, which is interesting. There was a Sydney Morning Herald article talking about expansion this morning or yesterday, and saying, look, you can't do it. PBL's come out and said, no, we're continuing. And there's this talk, I heard Gus a while ago talking about the quality, I suppose, myth going, well, he was saying, well, there's lack of quality. And so I can't remember who it was just countering him going, well, no, like if you have the talent spread evenly enough, sure, it's a bit of a narrow pool, but quality, if enough teams are still beating each other on their day, then you've still got entertainment, and it's still the top level of league. Like you look at some of the guys that we're getting around New South Wales Cup for us, for example, quality. Some of the guys get around in Queensland Cup, quality could crack it in first grade, I reckon, in the right systems with the right structures. So compared to Super League, for example, where there are a lot of guys getting around that were definite reserve graders playing first grade, I don't think it's that bad across the board.
Yeah, well, you touched on it. Obviously, the Parramatta's going through a bit of a change in roles. He's got people like Bryce Cartwright and Madison back down playing reserve grade for New South Wales.
Yeah.
They've got a pretty formidable pack going around for the New South Wales Cups. Williams 2.0 said, spare a thought for Jack Williams. Yeah, he did bust through. I was hoping he was going to find Penasani at one stage, but he passed too late, and I was almost going to curse him, but obviously Penasani hooked me and lapped up later on, so good on him.
And Nanai playing reserve grade, things, yeah, sure, terrible defensive in the weekend, but he's an Origin rep playing reserve grade, things like that. It's like, yeah. The only thing I'll say every time this stat comes up, I repeat it, is if the Sharks scored one more point against Newcastle in 2001, and it was a Chris Beattie try disallowed right at the end, we would have won 50. We're up 49-30. We would have won 55-30, and this stat would have gone 24 years ago. So anyway, I don't think either those teams will win the comp, but just there's if anyone from the Eels or Roosters are watching, you may have a chance, maybe.
You're telling me there's a chance.
Exactly.
In signing news, our former Shark and Brayley brother from Newcastle has signed a deal with Canberra to head down immediately down to the nation's capital to play down with Ricky Stewart. So interesting there. And obviously the biggest news coming out of this week is Dylan Brown signing with the Newcastle Knights as of next year on $1.4 million per year for a 10-year contract. Franco, I know you get worried when Hynes signed for a long term. Feelings on Dylan Brown?
I think that is just ridiculous. I think that's a rush of blood. Now, I think it's O'Sullivan who's the guy behind this one, and he's
Peter O'Sullivan. Yep.
He's historically pretty spot on with his recruitment. Can spot talent, and I think Brown was the one that got away. I think I read somewhere that he's tried to sign him a few times and missed out, and I think this might be his white whale where he's wanting to go out and secure Brown no matter the cost. I think it's especially when you've got a huge salary marquee player already in your cap with Ponga, signing up Brown for that kind of money for that length of time, not having seen him perform well on his own as a lead playmaker, I think is just absolutely nuts.
And it is 10 years. 10 years.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of things
It's
to go
absurd.
sideways. You're talking
That
head
is.
knocks, injuries, like you look at Tamalolo, things like that. But he's a forward and was
Exactly.
later in his career.
That's
And not only that,
Not to mention,
yep.
sorry, so not to mention Ponga on a very similar amount of money. You're going to have
about to
some
say that.
disgruntled players there not getting what they're worth,
Yeah.
sort of at that medium level, and that's just going to tear the team apart. Not to
It's
mention Brown's got a bit of a shady off-field history of late, and it's a lot to invest in a player of his caliber.
Yeah, 2.7 across two players is a lot. And the worst thing is it breaks up me and Latz's favourite combo at Parramatta, Brown Peanut.
Oh no!
It's our favourite betting
Penasini.
combo. Yeah, Penasini.
Oh,
Well, it's our favourite betting combo. Anyway.
I think it's also interesting
Dan
the way, I mean, we spoke about the media and what they've discussed in terms of Nicho Hynes, but there's certainly going to be a lot of stories written and told about this particular one. But one of the narratives that's come out is how the market for halves is going to explode and push their pricing up. Now, I do agree that in the short term, that might be a scenario where people sort of go, oh, we need to lock up what we've got for a bit more money than what we want, or players saying, oh, like I think it's Lockie Galvin's come out and said he's going to test the market from the Tigers. But they sort of said that would happen with when Ben Hunt signed for the Dragons for ridiculous money a long time ago. Was it 7 or 8 years ago now, right? And yes, for a season and a half, prices were a little bit out of control, but they sort of normalized. And I think that's going to happen again here, right? Yeah. Get the money while the getting's good, but I think it's going to come back to a normality because this is, like I said, just definitely a blood rush, and it's not sustainable for teams to have that kind of money tied up in that player for that long.
Yeah, well, obviously Luai left Penrith and got a nice upgrade to go to the West Tigers, but we know the Tigers got to overreach for those kind of guys at the moment. Obviously, we touched on Lockie Galvin's probably the next domino to fall, which the scuttlebutt began talking about in regards to going to Parramatta, possibly to replace Brown. You saw Cooper and Johns on their podcast last night say he's a 6, he's not a 7, and that's what Newcastle need. And Newcastle for a long time has tried to replace guys in regards to, from Mitchell Pearce to, what's his name? They got Jared Mullen. Big name halves. They haven't really found that guy since they kind of like Parramatta. Haven't found that guy since Joey Johns to kind of replace him. So it's probably an overreaction. Who knows how many thousand ratchet clauses he has in there. So apparently he's got that in there as well. So we'll watch this space and see what the upgrade is. But yeah, as Boldo's a big advocate, you can't knock your salary cap out of whack. So I think this is going to knock them real out of whack. Like Lat said, as mid-range players going to be annoyed. Leo Thompson's leaving the club at the end of the season just due to salary cap constraints. You've already lost the Saifidi out of it. It's just going to continue. So Bradman Best is probably due for an upgrade soon. And yeah, it'd be interesting.
crazy.
Again, Cyclone Alfred struck again, and this is the Titans training facility during the week. Shout out to the Northern Rivers and Gold Coast and family up there. This is what they were left with. So they've moved to, their game was down here in Sydney anyway, but they've obviously moved earlier to continue training in Sydney. So that's what they were left with. So they were like, let's get out of town while we can, and flew down to Sydney early. So
for those listening on audio, it's a picture of a football field where the water is higher than the crossbar.
Correct, yeah. So it's not much drainage going on there, but as we know, Queensland, the sun's out now, the power's back on, and they'll probably drain in about 12 hours. So but I wouldn't want to be training on there. So will the youngest come in? Will Ponga stay though since he's only got 2 years left? Yeah, interesting enough. I think Caelan's quite comfortable there at Newcastle and quite enjoys the club. I know there was a bit of issues with his third party deals that got sorted out, and I think having now the pressure off him with another playmaker who's probably going to get the media on him about getting 1.4 and 100,000 more than Bonga, he's probably happy that someone's there. So again, we'll watch this space. It's players don't stay long, and as Buzz cried about loyalty's dead, but this is a business how it is now. And in injury news, obviously, I wanted to use our poor Bulldogs, Kurt Mann, as the cover photo for this week. There's some more injuries went on. Poor Victor Radley copped another head knock in the Roosters game where he absolutely got smashed and poleaxed and went down. We lost another player on the back of Ison in Couchman from the Dragons, suffered an ACL injury against the Bulldogs. There was quite a few other injuries across the league, but not too serious. And then obviously this one came out. Kurt Mann said it's not that bad. And this was the result the following day of his eye. So I think he's in doubt this week, Kurt Mann for the Dogs, given that. But yeah. Well, that's something similar to that? Any black eyes like that, mate? Or?
Mate, that's insane.
Yeah.
Look, I thought it was an advert for Priscilla, Queen of the Desert for a minute. That's look for the audio listeners. There's a picture of Kurt Mann up on the screen. It's the biggest black eye I've ever seen in my life. Looks like he's got a massive purple eyeshadow on. Mate, that's got to be the worst eye I've seen, apart from Manu when he did his eye socket and blew his nose there and it just blew up. But I can't even see him playing this week. That's insane.
Mr. Dave's coming in the comments that Kurt Mann looks like he needs an eye patch. I think it really looks like he has an eye patch on. It's that bad. So
he needs an eye.
Listeners, go and have a look. The Kurt Mann picture, I did have it on our socials as part of our story. I did notice at the end of full time it was starting to blow up, and I thought I'll keep an eye on it. Pun intended. And that's what happened.
You went there.
Yeah, that's the around the league, guys.
Very good, mate. Thank you very much for that. Very good. All right. Well, I guess the Tigers are at it again with another documentary, this time a YouTube series called Thrive or Survive. This is off the back of their previous documentary, Tales from Tiger Town. Now, I haven't seen either, so I'm certainly not coming from a place of ignorance when it comes to those documentaries specifically. However, there is an advantage to doing them, and as seen by Drive to Survive for Formula One and followed up by NBA, PGA, and Cricket Australia docos, among others. More eyes and more awareness hopefully translates to more fans and more sponsorship dollars. I don't know. Lats, would you like to see a Sharks documentary?
Mate, I saw Tales from Tiger Town and I've seen Tiger King and there's not much difference. I thought they were both pretty random. Look, I thought even in Madge's speech that was on, it seemed fabricated for the cameras and it was just, I found it quite corny. What I would like to see though, I don't think we need to see behind the scenes every day from the Sharks, but I would have loved to have seen a doco done around the Vegas trip and when we found out we were going, the plane trip, what we got up to before the game day and that, and leave it at that. But I don't think we need to open the doors to let everyone in. There's things that need to stay guarded, and I'm good with a pass on that one, mate.
Was Carol Baskin in the Tigers one? I didn't see her.
She was in the
Or
suit.
was that Madge?
Oh gosh. CK, what are the potential cons for something like this documentary?
The biggest con is it's kind of like, again, we'll go back to my NFL ones. They've done the series for the last couple of years called Hard Knocks. It's kind of like the Madden cover curse, where if you're the cover of the Madden game, you pretty much get struck down with injury. Hard Knocks series, teams have never gone on and usually absolutely fall into the implosion of the club. Whatever can go wrong does go wrong. So I think with the cameras there, I really love Drive to Survive. I watch it all the time. I love those insights, but it's a lot of highlights used and just interviews before the season, after the season, and the team principals are just the face of those teams. So I think our social media teams on all teams do a great job. I know the Warriors put out a great one today about being back home the other day. So I think, and like me and Boldo spoke to PVL and Abdo, this is the new way where the social content creators are the new wave of the media. So I don't think we really require a doco unless, like Lat says, you can do a Vegas one and sell it as part of Vegas package when we try and promote back over in the States. But yeah, we've got enough. We've got enough content. We get behind the scenes. We get locker room views, interviews, training packages, daily updates. It's plenty.
Williams, do the pros outweigh this? Are there any good
Ah,
things to come from it?
I, I for the Sharks in if you look at was it Tales of Tiger Town, Sunderland Till I Die, the ones that Chris is talking about in America, I'd say no. I think there's and I love these ones. One of my favourite docos is actually a doco called November 16, and it's about Australia beating Uruguay in 2005, and it is fantastic. It's after the fact. Was it filmed in 2015, so it was 10 years after the fact, filming everyone looking retrospectively, including the Uruguayan guys, interviews at the time, interviews live. It's great. The other ones, we all love the 30 for 30 docos, and the guys at the Rugby League Digest, so the two guys that you think I'm a nerd, my goodness, they recorded, it was weeks of non-stop content that went over like 7 years or 8 years covering the Super League war. They were talking about how during COVID, when the league stopped for a bit, and they just showed reruns of rounds 1 and 2 for a season that we didn't even know were going to restart. Why was there not a back catalogue of docos, 30 for 30 style? Fox have started to do it. The NRL have started to do it. There's so much content they put out to listeners, they provided, and they rattled off like 300 topics. When it comes to, we've heard about the Firebros and the Silvertails through to anything and everything that you can even go sideways and look at Shossie's shoe incident, for example. I'm taking the piss there, but there's so much content in rugby league that could be 30 for 30ized by the NRL, by Fox, by someone else, by Netflix, whoever, and it would rate. I reckon the only thing I suppose on it is that we are a much smaller market compared to, you look at obviously Drive to Survive's gone around the world. I loved Sutherland Till I Die, but that was just cringe-worthy because you're looking at the CEO that's just like so out of touch and then getting punted and them just turning through coaches. And as Lat said, I think that the fact that cameras are there, it just takes away from there's stuff that people don't need to see. So yeah, I think that the cons do outweigh it, but there's other options and other avenues there. I think a video of them get on the plane doing their thing. Hey, we're in LA. Stuff around the sensitive material regarding the actual running of the side. We don't need to know that. It'd be cool to know it, but also too, it would give away our competitive advantage. The other stuff we can cover, and I think, as Kelly said, the clubs are covering well. There's different avenues they can cover too to make it better or add to what we've already got.
You mentioned competitive advantage. Is there something that fans would use against us as well? Right, it's not hard to pick a thread and
I know that, for example, the Sunderland Till I Die one, there was the out-of-touch CEO that had his like Nespresso coffee machine there and he's spending bulk money on his rich mahogany office while the club couldn't even pay the cleaners and the cooks and all that stuff. And so, and opposition fans, as sure it was released like a year after that season, but opposition fans were going to town on it. And you know what English fans are like. They're just bringing up every chant under the sun. Yeah, now if you air that dirty laundry, it's going to get absolutely slayed. Like, it's not worth it.
Yeah, and is there a part of having that air of mystery, CK? Like, do you want to not know everything that's going on so that there's something to keep you on the edge of your seat, something to keep you coming back for more? Is there something lost by knowing more than what you should?
Yeah, like I said, I think the access we've had in the last 5 to 10 years in rugby league's enough. I don't like the locker room afterwards, and I think Channel 9 may have done away with it. The interviews afterwards where they go in and Freddie and Joey have a beer and the blokes are in towels and underwear and throwing rubbish at each other. Like that should be their little get together. I used to love the prezos, we all did. They had a great time doing that kind of access. You got to actually like seeing the players, and I think that's the biggest difference in probably Australian sport, maybe in rugby league and Australian football, is our access to players is massive. You can walk down the street and talk to them, run into them. You can go to a training session. You can chat to them after games. I don't think a doco is going to change anything or improve anything. So, I think we see enough in training sessions. I think they reveal enough. We don't have enough. We have us breaking it down somehow. Other experts doing it. So, yeah, there's no real difference.
The only thing I can think of in regards to the Tigers doing another one, they want their image changed of that losing team. So they're trying to recreate a new brand with new players and get it out there and get that support and and just get seen like that in the public eye. So I see what they're doing, but yeah, not for us.
Well, all I could hear from Tigers and Taildown was just Madge just beep. It's just non-stop pressing the censor button. Like it was just tearing shreds off blokes. And I'm like, that's enough. Like,
Yeah.
Is the NRL too tribal to get an audience invested in a documentary for non-fans? Like, sounds like a couple of you guys watched the Tiger Town doco, but was that more a case of it just happened to be after a game that you were watching? Like, is anyone going to go and source out this new one, Thrive or Survive or Thrive or whatever it's called, because it's a YouTube channel? You're going to actually go out and find it on YouTube and sit down and watch it, or it's a tough sell, I think.
Yeah, mate. When I said I watched Tales from Tiger Town, I saw snippets across the socials from it, and as Chris said, it's predominantly Madge's speech. It was a bit degrading to the players, and it's just something I didn't care to see. But I can't see outsiders seeking out that, that sort of viewership, and it's just lost. I think if rugby league's ingrained into you, you might have a look, but not from a new audience perspective.
Here's an idea I've got, which would have been great. Like, we all disparage Origin, and I agree. Anyway, we've spoken enough about why we don't like Origin. But in 2020, they were going. Channel 9 wanted to do and I think it was by the same guys that filmed the test. They've done 2 series of that now, and they were going to do it. And New South Wales were all for it. Freddie was. Wayne Bennett knocked on the head at the last minute, and that's how we end up, I think, with Karl Stefanovic introducing the Origin that period, because he was supposed to be hosting that. That would have been really interesting, I reckon. But I suppose if Wayne's turned around and gone, that's not good for us. He's got a lot of experience. I know, say what you will about him, but yeah, there's a reason why the Tigers did it and the Roosters didn't, for example.
Yeah,
Mr. Dave says.
Okay, go. You go.
Mr. Dave says the Sharks should make a doco on each Hall of Famer of the club. Not a bad idea.
Yeah, things like that. But again, Tiger Town, the only bits I saw was because Fox Sports would ram it down your throat, and they'd play it directly after a 360 or one of those programs and keep repeating it. So it was pretty much all of it. But so the one I sort of went alongside the Hard Knocks in the NFL, it's all preseason stuff. So it's a little bit different, where you see new players come in, new coaches come in, how players are cut, how they're accepted, what their background's like. Whereas ours would be like the preseason. We know who's at the club already. It hasn't sort of got those intricacies. So, hard to. And same as Franco, watching the F1s, you already know the results. You're just watching a bit of inside behind the scenes. But that's because they don't really show much in the F1s behind the scenes. So,
yeah, very closely guarded secrets there. 2.0 says, what do you want about Nufties watching maths, but nobody would watch a league doco? Take me now. I've heard it all.
maths. No
You love
way.
Maths Williams 2.0. You keep texting me on the side about maths and who's in and who's out and who wrote stay and leave, mate. You speak a big game, but come on.
I definitely think there's a difference between having a full-blown documentary series versus having one-off documentaries for, sort of like you were saying, Williams, hit a topic, hit it hard, sit down, watch that episode, and then refresh, reload, go again for a different topic in another episode. I think there's a lot of room for those sorts of documentaries. Obviously, we'll start the chant now, but a Blu-ray version of the 2016 Premiership hopefully would have some kind of documentary on there that we could see and hear behind the scenes things and catch up on a lot of that. But ultimately, what we're saying is, Lats, it's a no for a documentary from you.
Yeah, no from me, mate. Not
CK,
nothing I
no.
can see.
Yeah, no, for me, I was about to say the same example. Like, it'd be good to see the team, whoever won the comp, watch a retrospective and sort of talk about the season. I know our guys in Lewis and Gallen and Innes did a little bit on that, but yeah, probably not for every team, or just focus on the season. There's enough content. We're sweet.
Williams?
Yeah, no, it's a no for me for a Tiger Town style one for the Sharks. There's other opportunities.
Yeah.
Hope better.
definitely. I'm on the fence. More content is always great, and I'm always eager to see the training photos and montages when the club releases them. So it'd be hard for me to say no, but ultimately
We'll
I'd
get you
rather
an
the guys
Instagram
keep the
page.
eyes on the prize and not worry about it.
We'll sign you up to
Um,
Instagram. You can watch it all.
Oh yeah, is there plenty there? Is there?
There's heaps, mate. There's heaps.
All right. Well, maybe a post-season doco looking back would be more my
Yeah.
jam. I think that would be kind of cool. A retrospect would be nice. All right. Is there any other business you guys want to cover? Anything we haven't covered here with the socials or the around the league or any topics we've not touched on?
No, I just want to give a
No,
shout out, mate. For the other day, International Women's Day, there was a nice little post by the Sharks that just supporting all the women around our club and celebrating them, and good on them for having a good crack, and we love having them there.
Very good. Awesome. All right. Well, Lats, CK Williams, great show as usual. Thanks very much for keeping me focused and on target. Our upcoming shows include Boldo and Solve Accounting doing a deep dive into the Sharks annual report. We get an opposition fan preview with Rob from the On the Ranch podcast. Williams gives us another Classic Chronicles episode against the Cowboys. What was the game, Williams? Should we know?
2010 at Dairy Farmers. So there may be a comeback from 18-0 down. There may be 3 field goals. There may be extra time. There may be, I think John Williams dropped a whole stack of bombs for us as well. For the Cowboys, sorry. Then we signed him. So, yeah, good time.
Okay. Very good. Exciting. I can't wait to see that one. And of course, we have our post-game debrief episode on Saturday night, not long after the game. I think you said you'll be there, CK. Very good. Keeping me company. If you missed us live, drop some comments below or jump on the Discord and pop them in there. If you are on our Discord, don't forget to put your tips in. Remember, we only tip the Sharks games each round. So you only get one game to pick, Sharks or no Sharks. So jump in there and pop it in. If you don't know how to put your tips in, just ask for some help and someone there will give you a hand. Thanks again, Lats, CK, Williams, and everyone else for listening. It's been a great show, and I can't wait for round 2 and a little bit more normality and a little bit more close to home. It's going to be good. Up, Cronulla.
For over 50 years, people have come to see the Sharks play. Talent, skill, speed, intelligence, elite-level athleticism. That's not these guys. Biased, one-eyed, opinionated, more often wrong than right. They make up for their complete lack of talent with pure dribble, gibberish, and enthusiasm. This is the E.T. Stand Podcast.